Thank you everyone for joining us this afternoon, especially with everything going on with the wildfires throughout the state. Like everyone else, we're real concerned about the health and safety that for everyone in Oregon, and that certainly includes a lot of our dedicated employees. Really want to thank everyone who is out there risking their lives and safety to keep the rest of us safe during these fires. The fires are impacting our work as a result of the wildfires and the high winds. We've experienced some computer network outages at our Wilsonville Contact Center and WorkSource Oregon centers in Oregon City and Florence. We've also had to temporarily close our WorkSource offices in Lincoln City and Newport because of the events going on. Also, many of our employees are having to evacuate or to prepare to evacuate either themselves or family members. The combination of these factors means that it may cause delays in services and longer wait times than we've been seeing. We do apologize for that and certainly are doing everything we can to help everyone else while also supporting our own employees who are having to face the same challenges with these fires. I do have some brief updates to share today, starting with an update on the Lost Wages Assistance Program. One update regarding this is that FEMA requires each person seeking the additional $300 per week benefits to certify that they are receiving benefits for a COVID-19 related reason. People that are receiving PUA benefits already had to do that in order to receive PUA benefits. Other programs do not have that requirement, so people receiving other types of benefits will have to make a separate certification to meet that FEMA requirement. Starting late this week or early next week, we anticipate being able to roll out our system to where people can start that self-certification process using our online claim system. Later, we'll also be able to do that over the telephone, although we're strongly encouraging everyone to do that through the online claim system who can, because that will make it both easier for them and easier for us and avoid further congestion of the telephone lines. That self-certification is the first step in the process to receiving lost wages assistance benefit payments. We hope to start issuing those payments at the end of this month. So far, we've received FEMA funding to provide for 5 weeks worth of benefits. That's July 26th through August 29th. We have already submitted a request to receive funding for week 6 of benefits, which is for last calendar week. We have not yet received those funds, but do anticipate getting confirmation in the near future. We also just received earlier this afternoon official word from FEMA that week 6 is the last week for which the lost wages assistance benefits will be payable. So when we're able to start making those payments, they will be payable for the time period of July 26th through the end of last calendar week. With our modernization work, we continue to make progress and to push forward along with all the other work that we're doing. After what has been a year-long thorough procurement process, we anticipate very soon issuing our notice of intent to award a contract to a vendor. That will let us do the detailed negotiations with the vendor needed so that we can have a contract that meets all Oregonians' needs. It will also give us a much better idea of the timing and the cost for that unemployment insurance modernization project. That notice of intent is one of many steps in the larger and longer process that will eventually include getting permission from the legislature for the stage gate approval for us to enter into the contract with the solution vendor. And we will continue to provide updates on this as things progress. We have heard of some instances recently where financial institutions have locked people out of their bank accounts where we have, at those people's requests, deposited their unemployment insurance benefits. This is based on the internal fraud detection algorithms that those financial institutions use and the fact that we are sometimes depositing a high volume of checks. While this isn't something that we have control over, when these financial institutions contact us, we're providing information as permitted by federal and state confidentiality laws to allow those financial institutions to complete their fraud prevention processes. We're continuing to focus our efforts on the claims for people who have been waiting the longest and to help people whose claim still needs additional work for benefits to be issued. On a related note, I do want to remind people and encourage anybody that was unemployed during the course of this pandemic, if they have not already applied for benefits, to find out if they may qualify for benefits. Many of the regular eligibility rules were adjusted under the temporary COVID-19 rules that the Employment Department adopted, and some of the new federal benefit programs under the CARES Act provide benefits for people that weren't previously eligible. It also allows backdating of claims so people can get the emergency benefits that they're entitled to even if they haven't yet filed. We want to make sure that if somebody may have given up on claiming because they had difficulty getting through on the phones, didn't think they would be eligible for benefits, or just didn't understand how to apply, if they're eligible for benefits, we really want to make sure that absolutely every person gets those benefits. So encourage people to look at our website, unemployment.oregon.gov, to find out if they might qualify and to file for benefits if it looks like they might. Last week, I gave some updates about our planned information technology related work regarding the preliminary timelines for the Lost Wages Assistance Program, when we would be able to pay for the waiting week, and implementation of Senate Bill 1701, which allows people to earn a little bit more per week before it starts impacting their weekly unemployment benefits. As of today, nothing has changed with that preliminary timeline, and we are still looking at that same time frame for those programs to roll out. We have another webinar going on tomorrow. Tomorrow's will cover some of the extension programs, so the Pandemic Emergency Unemployment Compensation, or PEUC program, and Extended Benefits, or EB. Those are programs that provide additional benefits to people who otherwise would be running out of regular unemployment. That webinar will take place at 1 p.m. and is open to the public. We encourage anyone that's interested to look at our social media channels where you can get information on registering, and we'll also be posting the webinar afterwards on our social media. One additional maintenance note is that this Sunday, September 13th, from 4 a.m. to at least 3 p.m., the state mainframe computer, which is the same computer that our unemployment insurance benefit programs are run on, will be undergoing system updates. People should still be able to file their weekly unemployment insurance claims, but not new initial claims for unemployment insurance. This system maintenance should not impact the online PUA form, so people seeking PUA benefit should still be able to file both initial and weekly claims for benefits. To turn to the numbers of how we're doing with processing claims and getting benefits paid out, between March 15th and September 5th, we've had about 561,400 claims for regular unemployment insurance. The same time period last year was about 68,500 claims. We continue to do the initial processing of claims quickly. We have just over 1,000 of those claims that haven't yet been processed, and continue to see that most of those are just a few days old, and even the most complicated are no more than 2 weeks old. On the Pandemic Unemployment Assistance Program, we've paid just under 51,000 people a total of $153 million in PUA benefits. We continue to focus our efforts on getting benefits paid out to people who have not yet received some or all of the PUA benefits that they're eligible for. Our WorkShare program continues to see high usage. Since March 15th, we have over 1,580 employers using it and just under 65,000 workers covered by that program. In total, between March 15th and September 5th, the Employment Department has paid out $4.2 billion in benefits. So that is many years worth of benefits being paid out since the start of the pandemic. We continue to hire and train more employees, and a key part of that is getting additional training to many of our recently hired employees so that they're trained on more programs, and we can have more of our employees able to answer a broader range of questions and address a broader range of issues that need to be handled on various types of claims. We exceeded our goal of hiring adjudicators, and they are at various stages of being trained and gaining proficiency. So they're helping us increase the pace at which we can address the claims that we're required to adjudicate. I mentioned earlier that our staffing for this week will certainly be impacted by the forest fires going on throughout the state. I do want to thank everyone for taking time to join us today. These really are incredibly difficult times. I've been saying that in prior weeks, and the current disasters that we're facing with the fires, high winds, just adds to that exponentially. And our hearts here go out to absolutely everybody that is impacted. We know it's just devastating, and we're very sorry for the hardship everyone is facing. There is some additional information regarding the wildfires that you can get at a new website, wildfires.oregon.gov. So we encourage people to go there to look for more information or resources. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, David. Up first, we have Kate Davidson with OPB. Hi, is Kate on the line? We can come back to the end. Next is Dick Hughes.
Thank you very much. I greatly appreciate these weekly sessions, David. My first question is on the state's mainframe computer and the modernization. Is the issue that the state's mainframe is so obsolete? And will this modernization replace the state mainframe as far as use by the employment department, or will this new modernization still run on the state mainframe?
That's a great question. And although the mainframe system itself has been around for many years, and I'll give the preface that I am not a technology expert, but my understanding is that the hardware and things like that of the mainframe computer itself are very reliable, and they do what they were designed to do very well, including processing really high volumes of work efficiently. The real issue that we're addressing with modernization is the way our business practices have to be done because of the way the programs that were coded decades ago to address how those programs worked then and how people interacted with technology and with government and the world then were so different. So that predated the internet. So it's really the coding of the programs that we're looking to replace. The new system that we get will not be part of the state's mainframe computer system. It will be separate. There may be some parts of work that continue to be done on the mainframe, but that will really depend on what's needed to keep all the unemployment insurance benefits programs. That includes the collection of data and employer wage reports and collection of taxes and all the payment of benefits to keep that going smoothly and efficiently for workers and businesses. So there may still be some use of the mainframe, but the new system that we're getting is not going to be on the mainframe itself.
Thank you. And then a semi-related follow-up question. In talking with people, there are a lot of claims that have been processed and partially paid, but then like for PUA claims, they're waiting decisions by I guess your tax section as to whether gig workers, et cetera, are eligible for the additional more than $205 a month. There are people waiting on adjudication one way or another. Do you have any sense, again, of what percentage or how many of these claims are waiting for additional work?
I don't have an overall number, and one of the challenges is that there are a lot of different issues that come up, and you hit on several different ones. Certainly, there's a number of cases that need adjudication issues. For some of those, people are still receiving benefits, or the adjudication might only cover just 1 week of benefits, and they're receiving benefits for all the other weeks, including on an ongoing basis. For PUA claims specifically, there's issues around whether they're eligible for regular unemployment or PUA, and that's something that we have to reevaluate each quarter. So there are some people who receive PUA benefits, and then as we moved into another calendar quarter, we're required to go back, and if it looks like they may now be eligible for regular unemployment, federal law requires us to do that and to move them over to that other program. And there's just a large number of other issues looking at whether they should be receiving a higher weekly benefit amount. And each week that someone files a claim, there's the opportunity for another issue that we're required to examine to arise. So we don't have a really good number. We continue to try to work with the data to get as good a picture as we can for how many people are waiting for kind of initial payments and how many people may be waiting for smaller increments of maybe just isolated weeks or two. But at this point, we really don't have the data to share that shows that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it sounds like Kate is having technical difficulties, but she's emailed her questions in, so I will read her first question out. Wilsonville is under level 1 evacuation notice. What will the biggest impact be on the claims process if the contact center has to evacuate?
So whenever any of our offices have to evacuate, then obviously those employees need to go. We're exploring where we're able to help people telework. Certainly we don't have the capacity to have all of those people telework. So it would slow work down. We will see if there are other offices that are not impacted by the fire and other conditions going on where people can work. That depends on the course of all the different fires, and it depends on how much space we have in those buildings. So we're looking at those contingencies. It's hard to quantify because we don't know what's going to happen. And a lot of it, frankly, depends on the individual circumstances of each of our employees. Some of our employees may live in places where they themselves are not also subject to an evacuation order. So if there is another location for them to work at, they would be able to do that easily and without any undue hardship. For other employees, they may well be packing up their own household and having to move, which means that even if the office itself were open, they might not be able to work because they're having to care for themselves and their families.
Okay, and her follow-up question, what is the status of the work from home program?
So we initially, I'll just give a little bit of historical recap where when the pandemic started, the agency had anyone that could telework then start teleworking. And that was, I don't have the exact number, I think a couple hundred employees. So a significant percentage of the agency. Historically, most of the positions in the unemployment insurance program were not able to telework. And that was due to a number of factors, various kinds of technology, confidentiality, all types of issues, many of which can be overcome, but hadn't yet. We did a pilot project, and we had to change the course of that pilot project a little bit when we closed our Gresham office for a while. Since then, we have had adjudicators out on a pilot project and actually slightly expanded the original pilot. So I believe we have over 20 adjudicators that are currently teleworking under the pilot project. It has been a successful pilot, and by that I mean that we identified several things that were issues that needed to be addressed around accessing systems, several around the way that the new phones that we're using to allow people to be able to handle the incoming calls, how those were working. We have been able to address most of those during the pilot phase. We haven't fixed all of them, but we think that we have enough addressed that we have already expanded the pilot. So we have close to another 20 employees who also didn't used to be able to telework, also piloting working at home. And we're in the process of finalizing the plans with our employees about how quickly we can add additional groups of employees to do the telework pilot. This still has some limits in that we can't have everyone who's able to do it go out at once, because it still takes a significant amount of effort from our information technology team to support that transition from working in the office to teleworking. And so we have to do it in small enough groups that we're able to do that without distracting our IT teams from the other key work they're doing. And then once each group gets settled in, we'll have another group of employees go out and add to that telecommute pilot.
Thank you. Next, we have Mike Rogoway with the Oregonian.
Hey, David. I'm hoping you can walk me through we're right about at the 6-month mark, I think, from when this all started. So some people will be dropping off their initial regular unemployment benefits. Do you anticipate any trouble transitioning them to the PEUC extension?
So like many answers, I think I start with it depends. For people that are continuing to claim regular unemployment insurance benefits and they are exhausting those benefits and need to go to PEUC, federal guidance required that we have an application for people to begin PEUC benefits. We made that application as streamlined as possible. So if somebody has been filing online for regular unemployment and they're running out, they should just keep doing that. They should be automatically redirected to a very short online PEUC application that should transition them over to PEUC benefits very quickly. We have seen some delays for some people getting onto PEUC, particularly if there had been a break in reporting. This is also another program that requires us to examine each quarter if they're eligible for some other program. So sometimes that quarterly review is lining up with the time frame of when people are exhausting benefits, so that can cause a delay. We have continued to streamline some of the automated processes, so more of those transitions are happening without staff intervention, and we're able to keep up on the ones that do require staff intervention much more quickly. So for most people, it should go pretty seamlessly. For some people, there may be a delay, but the delay should be short, ideally no more than a week or two for most people.
Thank you. I don't have a follow-up. That's just what I needed. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike. Next, we have Tom Cusack with Oregon Housing Blog. Is Tom on the line? If you are on the line but having technical difficulties, I apologize. You can send your question in to oed_communications@oregon.gov. And it looks like that is the close of our RSVP question list for today. Today's remarks were very short. Thank you very much for taking the time to join us today. If you have other questions that have not been answered, please send them over in an email and we will get back to you as soon as we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Hope you stay safe.